Welcome to the RTasks Electronic Charting Refresher. In this video, we are going to review how to file an incident report, how to document PRN medications, how and when to document a PRN treatment, what a good end-of-shift note looks like, finally, how to sign off on policies. How to file an incident report. Before we go into details on filing an incident report, let's look at what an incident report is used for. An incident report is where a nurse or PCA reports adverse events that happen outside of the care plan. These include falls, medication errors, client injuries, aggressive behaviors, skin breakdown. When should you complete an incident report? Complete an incident report as soon as it is safe to do so after the incident has occurred. How do you fill out an incident report? There are two places to file an incident report. The easiest way is from the client's chart. Start by going to the correct campus for the client. Then click on Clients. From this menu, find the client's chart and click on it. Now scroll down and select Incidents from the chart. Here you can see previous incident reports that have been filed, as well as create a new incident report. Click on Report an Incident. By default, the program will put in the current date and time. Change the time to reflect when the incident actually happened. If you are reporting an incident which happened on a previous day, change the date. For category, ensure that Incident-Resident is selected. Now select the incident type which best reflects the incident you are reporting, and ensure you still have the correct client selected. Once you click on the incident report type, the incident report will show up automatically. If you have selected the wrong incident report, go back to the Type box and select the correct incident report. Now complete the report by filling in the boxes. Any box with a red triangle and star in the upper right-hand corner is a required field. Once you have completed the report, click Submit. Let's take a look at the skin breakdown reports. These can be found under the incident type Skin Breakdown. This is where we document all wounds every Monday and Thursday. Use this incident report to report new wounds and update wound measurements on existing wounds. How to document a PRN medication. PRN medications must be documented within 1 hour of administration. This shouldn't affect your workflow. The first step in administering a PRN medication is verifying the order and seeing when it was last administered. To document a PRN medication, you must be in the correct campus. Click on the Clinical tab at the top of the screen and go to Medication Charting History. Ensure that the date range covers how back you need to check. If you are on an AM shift, you may only need to look at today. If you are on a NOC shift, you may need to look back from the previous day through today. Now, scroll all the way to the bottom, and any PRNs that were administered would be listed here. Now that you know it wasn't administered recently, you can administer the medication. Start by clicking on Today, then click on Plus More. Finally, click on Chart PRN Medication. Now select your client, then the medication being administered. The instructions will show up for the medication. Ensure that you have the correct dosage. If it is a ranged dose, be sure to include the total dose in the service notes. Write the reason the medication was given and select which provider will follow up on that medication. The provider should always be that client's nurse or PCA. Click Administered once you have given the medication. This will automatically generate a follow-up in 60 minutes. How to document a PRN treatment. Any unscheduled treatment should be documented as an unscheduled service. This includes things like suctioning, range of motion, unscheduled trach change, unscheduled G-tube change, unscheduled water flush, etc. The most common unscheduled service for our clients is generally a suction. We should be charting each time we do a suctioning. For instance, if a client requests a suctioning and you do 3 passes, that would be charted as 1 unscheduled suctioning. If they call you again in 5 minutes to do suctioning again, this would be another unscheduled service. To document an unscheduled service, you must be in the correct campus. Then click on Plus More. Then select Unscheduled Service. Now select the correct provider and client. Select the service type from the drop-down menu which best describes the service rendered. For instance, suction, inline. The instructions for that service will show up, and then you can complete the required documentation. Click Save, and you're done. How to write a good end-of-shift note. All nurses and PCAs or RTs who provide expanded duty care are required to write at least one end-of-shift note, summarizing the overall condition of the client throughout their shift. At a minimum, the note should include the following. 1. The status at the beginning of the shift. Were they awake or asleep when you arrived? Did they have any signs or symptoms of respiratory distress? Were they in their bed or their wheelchair? And overall, were they stable or unstable when you arrived? 2. Status throughout the shift. Throughout the shift, was the client stable or unstable? Include a narrative summary of anything that happened which isn't charted somewhere else. For instance, if the client had a doctor's appointment and there were no changes to their orders, include a note about that. Include a status update on any abnormal events throughout the shift which were documented in a service. For instance, if the client had pain that was treated with an ice pack, include the response to that treatment. 3. Status at the end of shift. Was the client awake or asleep? Did they have any signs or symptoms of respiratory distress? Where were they? In bed or their wheelchair? And overall, were they stable or unstable at the end of the shift? 4. Who was report given to? Include in your note if report was given to nurse, family, PCA, a hospital worker, or anyone else who a handoff report was done to. Now, let's write a good note. Client awake in bed, no signs or symptoms of respiratory distress. Stable at the beginning of shift. Stable throughout shift, had doctor's appointment with primary, no new orders. Client desatted to 87% during nebulizer administration and recovered to 96% once neb was finished. Stable at end of shift, on vent in wheelchair, no signs and symptoms of respiratory distress, report given to mother, client in care of family. Reviewing and signing off on policies. When new policies are published, they will show up on your Today screen. It is very important to read, understand, and sign off on all new policies. As soon as you log into RTasks and get to the Today screen, you will see any new policies here. Click on the policy, read the policy, watch any of the videos associated with it, then click on I have read, understand, and will comply with this policy, and you're done. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out directly to your clinical case manager or call the office and ask to speak with a case manager.